Hello, this is Iron Inquisitor, and I'm with whoever introduce yourself next.
I am Rave Blitz. You may know me from that one video where I defended Matt Wilkins.
It was a good video looking back.
You may know me on YouTube as Siberian Drain.
Name's Jedi Knight. I am trying to do projects that I've been losing motivation for because of work.
Oh, I feel you there, buddy. And?
I'm Task Force Mando. I did a few live streams with Scoundrels Cantina for Bad Batch, and I'm also working on my own Star Wars project. So, yeah.
So we got a full house yesterday.
Semi-full house.
Yeah.
I saw something very horrific today, and I had to bring it to the server, which inspired.
Do we run or no?
Can I just share my screen and show my viewers?
Oh,
Yes, go on.
what?
Of course, I'm probably going to have it burned into my retinas later on today.
I also have a kind of a video to share regarding my personal thoughts on the KOTOR remake.
Some people like Ryan Kinnell have been saying for a year they're going to do this, and they're going to. Oh, God.
Oh, can you guys see it?
Yep.
Yes, I already saw this trailer.
All right.
Same.
Here it is. I'm going to play it.
Oh, God.
In before copyright claim.
Yeah.
Peace is a lie. That is what the Sith believe. They promised power. Now they wield it. We face the greatest Sith in generations. They must be stopped.
A legend.
Yeah, but is there anyone who does not think there's a woman under that mask? Really?
Well,
my guess is they're gonna probably just like remove the character creator and just stick to the SWTOR Revan face.
well, that would be hilarious.
I've never played SWTOR all the way through.
What's character customization? Let's just remove it and just stick to the canon option.
Oh.
Even
What
though
is this
gameplay footage wasn't canon.
No, what is this creativity that you speak of?
Right?
Yeah.
No, but
By the way, in that trailer, was that Jennifer Hale still doing Bastila? Was that Bastila?
I think that was.
It could have been.
This is doing exactly what it's meant to be doing. I mean, I don't agree with Ron 100%, but on this I agree. It's meant to bring everyone together, budget fans, normies, casuals, CGI snobs, gamers, everyone. I'm all hyped, and then I'm pretty sure they're all going to walk away after this. I bet good money on that.
Do you guys want to know my personal thoughts?
Yeah, sure. Tell us.
Sure.
My only question is, why?
I think there's several things they're doing with this. One is they're going to say this is to single out the Legends fans for abuse. Hey, you guys are asking for Legends. Stop asking for this. You're tying your hands creatively because they always want to put out like these scapegoats. Legends one.
Yeah, the thing is, like, the reason why I ask why is because we already have the original game and it was fine.
Look,
why not give us KOTOR 3, something new?
Exactly.
The fans want new legends.
In fact, you know what game should be remade? Why not just remake KOTOR 2 and finish it this time?
I do want to say something.
I'd be on for that.
I just wish, honestly, I wish Bayo-Dur wasn't meant to die in KOTOR 2. That would have been,
yeah.
Like, they had the perfect opportunity to actually remaster KOTOR 2, right? And actually add the assets from the restoration mod.
Yeah, make Mitra Surik's story complete.
Yeah, but
make her story complete.
Can I bring up something?
Yes.
There is something I think you guys are missing. I do see a lot of, I'm going to call them CGI snobs, just keep saying, oh, man,
CGI snob.
Okay, I gotta give you shit for that. That's great.
And they just keep saying that over and over. And I'm not someone who needs an HD polish. I think the need for that is pulling away we look at stories. Because all these high school rejects they have, that's how they can shove through increasingly lazier scripts that they wouldn't have made it a few years ago.
In fact, I actually do have a video to show you guys that kind of supports my personal thoughts.
Yeah, go sure. Are you able to share your screen?
Hold on. Give me a second. This is pretty much a video. Have you guys ever heard of the Gaming Brit?
No.
Can't say I have.
He's a YouTuber, and he actually prefers older games to modern ones, and he actually made this really excellent video on how he feels about remakes.
Oh God!
Let's have it.
And the video's about like 8 minutes. So
do we have time for that even?
Yes.
I'm sure we do.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Hold on.
Before we do, there is a point I want to bring up. It's how, see, for me, I don't need an HD obsession. What I need is something that's at least not subpar at the time. Early Doctor Who, I cannot stand their graphics because the original Star Trek did it far better graphics-wise at the time. And look how many people just wave off. I got you, Iron Inquisitor, and you Jedi Knight into reboot. We're gonna do big reboot podcast one of these days.
Well, that's gonna be fun.
Yeah, into that.
We could do it tomorrow. I have tomorrow off.
Can you guys see this?
Yeah.
But look how many people just wave off reboots. Say, "Oh, the graphics look so weird today." They think it's stupid.
So freaking what? That's all I have to say about that. Like, sorry for interrupting. I was just
but
let me know if you guys can hear this at all.
Yeah, which is why I said CGI snub, but that's it for now. Proceed.
Let me know if you guys can hear this.
We might want to turn it up.
Turn it up.
Yeah, it needs to be turned up.
Yeah.
Can you guys hear it?
It's really the audio is really low. You gotta turn it up.
It's pretty quiet.
Okay. Give me a second. Let's at max volume. So.
Yeah, it is low. Well, can you caption it? Yeah. Again,
you guys hear it?
It's
a little bit.
Barely.
Oh, all those graphics are so
stupid. Is there a way to?
That's what CGI snobs would say about that.
I'm kind of curious. Is there a way I can maybe turn this up a little bit?
Siberian. Back to your point, I 100% agree with that. Like, with all these modern day HD graphics, I don't feel like I'm in a video game anymore or playing one. I feel like I'm watching a Unreal Cinema movie, which no insult to Unreal Cinema. He's doing a really good job with the KOTOR series.
Yeah, the KOTOR stuff looks fantastic.
Like, it's great, but there's a difference between a show and a video game.
I buy Reboot as a virtual world in the computers. No, you remember, boy, how I turned defeat into victory. How I left you with a dying system. And that music is so good. That's what we have.
Megabyte has to be one of the best villains in all of cartoon history.
He's also voiced by Tony J.
God rest his soul, too.
But I feel like that's who they're going to make this KOTOR thing for, is ultimately the CGI snobs, and they kind of have interlay with a lot of the new fans they want, these younger narcissistic types, or those who are on Twitter. Use the woke people on Twitter, which is where I think
the pronoun fucks, basically.
We're going to make her a woman, because they're going to say the books were never canon and cite gameplay mechanics, That's kind of a short sword, because I don't think they're going to use the Legends label on this game. They may say it's Legends, but they're not going to use the label because they don't think that sells, because they want it both ways, and they want to encourage headcanon.
It's funny, it's like, we don't think it sells, but yet, Marvel 108 like sold so well, and that one Heart of the Jedi, yeah.
I got 6
here, Iron. I'm gonna link you this and see if you can share it.
Maybe you could, yeah.
Bless you.
Where did you link it?
Because I linked it in DMs.
Yeah, there is a point I want to bring up. Look at this. If they actually
You can link it in the private chat. It'll be easier because I don't want opening
we-
Discord to disrupt the connection.
well, are we kidding ourselves? Who there at Lucasfilm has played KOTOR?
Oh, okay.
If they actually just watched a playthrough online, that may be something. But here's something I want to observe. Everyone at Lucasfilm, practically everyone, calls themselves a Dave Filoni acolyte. Look all the bore he watches. Turned on
Dave Filoni acolyte.
He turned on purple. He removed Duxton. They kept that consistent between Tales of the Jedi and the KOTOR games. But suddenly he comes along and Duxton's gone on purple. Now for 5 is round and he moved to 5. And the fans are like, oh, but that means it's not the same planet. No, the only ones who care are the older fans.
Wait, they got rid of Duxton?
So, yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't in orbit in TCW.
Ah, crap.
So if he's everyone's a Dave Filoni acolyte, and he's the best guy on lore I hear, apparently for all these normies and whatever. What does that say for this remake if they're not going to go black play the game or at least look at a walkthrough on YouTube since they apparently hate YouTubers?
You know, the fact that Filoni also doesn't know that, you know, Revan was redeemed and that Bane never
Filoni doesn't know that? Really?
Yeah, because remember the Dark Side Force Ghost and Mortis? Like, it makes no sense for them to be if he's actually
wasn't
read
that
the
like
lore.
wasn't that like a deleted scene or something though? Because George Lucas didn't want it or something.
Well, that shows you right there what they're going to do with KOTOR. They're going to cite gameplay mechanics. I was always asked canon. I think books were never canon.
It would be cool to see Dark Side Force Ghost, but how would that be possible is the question.
And you know, before anyone calls me a troll, I want to say this: in an equal alternate timeline, I don't mind female Revan. I played what's canonically the white woman exile as a black woman. I don't mind. But it's not an equal alternate timeline. It's replacing the older, shoddy, quote unquote inferior timeline. So that's not what they're doing at all.
Yeah, my first Revan, I played it Revan as a black dude because I thought he looked cool.
You've been, so you're totally Cad.
Oh yeah.
You've been replaying KOTOR too, haven't you?
Oh yeah, also, just recently, you know, with the internet being out, you know, last month, I was starting a playthrough of KOTOR 2 on Steam, and I've had a blast.
I have not been able to play that due to since early.
There is actually a mod for KOTOR 2 that gives the exile her canonical work from the books.
Oh yeah, I saw that on Steam.
Yeah.
No, personally, the problem is I don't mind how woman Revan alternate timeline is equal, but it's not going to be equal. It's just the same thing we said before. They preach inclusion, practice very real exclusion every turn. Like this is just meant to single up Legends plans for abuse because they encourage headcanon. They want you to be able to headcanon anything they want to Legends, even though it can't. Oh,
can we all agree on this one thing?
What?
Atten Rand is the best character in KOTOR 2. Like, Atten is.
Oh yeah.
I like Atten.
Because
Atten is a fool. Or what Kreia would do if she was Steven Crowder.
You guys want to hear a hot take though?
Hold on.
As Atten will ever be, and because
I was gonna say Kreia would be like Steven Crowder saying Atten is a fool. Change my mind.
I kind of find
about Lucasfilm, but Atten, he's like, because Jedi lie and they manipulate you, and every act of charity and kindness they do, you could drag it out squirming in the light to see it.
Here's a hot take from me. I find Kreia to be very overrated.
Yeah.
Really?
And she's I find her to be kind of irritating at points in the game because no matter what you do, she will always chastise you for it.
I don't know. It is a hot take because I see her as more divisive, you know? You're not the only one who said that. I've seen that before. That's a fair take.
I've always loved Kreia. Well, at least when I was younger, I found her kind of annoying, but as I got older, I began to appreciate her.
What was it?
I think
if I had to choose a gray Jedi from the KOTOR games, it would be Jolie Bindo. He's way better. That's just me.
My headcanon is when Jolie Bindo was younger, he had a huge fro. Changed my mind.
That'd be funny.
I wouldn't doubt it.
I prefer KOTOR 2 over the first one because I never got to finish the first one. I only went up to a certain point. I did watch the walkthroughs on YouTube that are from Virtual Cat from like 2008. And I feel like I prefer KOTOR 2 because it's more challenging. Not in a Ryan Johnson deconstructionist kind of way where you just destroy everything. Chris Allen actually looked at a lot of past content before he made that.
I prefer the first game because it's a more complete and immersive experience.
Well,
And not
in
to
a lot of
mention,
ways,
it's
but they had to have that surprise revelation.
the thing with the first game is they put the level cap at like what is it 30, so it actually gives you a challenge and it's kind of hard at the end. Whereas the second game is like way too easy because you can actually go up to level 50.
That's the thing with KOTOR. I can understand that argument because you go up to level 50 and the gameplay mechanics do get weird and buggy. Like, what is that minefield on the surface of Telos? Where if you don't set the AI right, they run right into the minefields.
Yeah. I remember that when I was younger dealing with that. But one reason I've always preferred the second game is, you play the first game enough and you notice all the item drops are exactly the same when you play the first game. And the second game is almost completely randomized.
Oh.
It makes it much more replayable for me.
Oh, the HK Droid Factory. You know what they...
I mean, I can understand that aspect of it. Like, the gameplay is a little more... The gameplay I find in KOTOR 2 is actually better.
I feel
customization is better for me, too.
Yeah. There's more variety.
You have more options, which is
Here's
nice.
a hot take. I think ditching the Tales of the Jedi aesthetics was a mistake. They're doing it for the normies. The idea of, oh, those aesthetics are stupid. I'm like, just
And as a guy who's played, read Tales of the Jedi before I played KOTOR, it would have been kind of cool if they had kept that aesthetic.
Oh, because isn't that what we're complaining about now? Oh, you're dumbing it down from...
Well,
yeah.
I wouldn't say it was dumbing it down. I would say my whole explanation is it was like a certain period of time during the Jedi Civil War where they wore those robes, but I'm sure they still kept the normal, Jedi robes.
It basically just looks like it does thousands of years later during the Republic versus Empire, or Rebellion versus Empire, Republic stuff.
Honestly, I wasn't a big fan of the Tales of the Jedi aesthetic. I don't know why.
Yeah, me neither.
Something looked off to me for some reason.
The robes looked kind of bad in the first game.
Right.
That's why I always use the mod where somebody actually made a mod where they ported the robe models to the first game.
Oh, really?
They did?
I love that because I don't like the robes from the first game either.
I love Gavin Jory's armor. You know what I mean? That's just so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, there is a mod for the first game that ports the robe models of KOTOR 2 to KOTOR 1.
Ah, interesting. What about the colors of lightsaber crystals?
Yeah, I think so too. You can get cyan.
That's one thing I didn't like about KOTOR 1 is that their lightsaber colors were really selective. It's not basic, it's just there just weren't enough. Like, I love the fact that in KOTOR 2 you get orange and then you get silver, bronze, which I can never find, but Viridian, we never saw that color before.
I think is imagine what they did doing so rushed, just trying to get out a year later. Imagine what they could have done with more time. If there's just that feeling, because they made it so great with the binding continuity and lore and all that stuff in just a year. If they could have had more time.
If they had more time, then Bayodir would have died on Telos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I don't like that idea. He's just too cool of a character to just kill off.
And not only that, his voice is ASMR material.
Really?
Yes. Yes.
General. You're still missing a lens.
I'm a video game
lens.
I am the video game. I'm a video game.
I hated that lightsaber quest where you have to find all the parts. It's just like,
No, because then you don't get to go to Nar Shaddaa first and then play through that.
I am a video game sadist. When I play, like, for example, Halo Combat Evolved, I always like to occasionally attack my own men. So whenever I play KOTOR 2, I go dark side female exile. It's so cool. I'm here to cleanse this of all life. Get ready to die.
Time to die, Bugface.
or something like that. When I just randomly go kill Riken in front of a dozen people, I'm here to kill you. I just want you to know it's nothing personal. It's just business. Do you guys? They'll never find the body.
I was gonna say, don't crucify me for this, but Dark side is for pussies. The light is everything.
um,
I'm so evil.
Do you guys want to hear my personal take on the whole
What?
remake thing?
What?
I feel with remakes, you kind of lose the intention and feel of the original and the vision, kind of, because it doesn't really feel. I mean, the story may be the same and the gameplay may be updated, but at the same time, it doesn't really, you don't get that same experience, if that makes sense.
Good point. Which I'm really worried that they'll turn it into the gameplay into like Skyrim or Fallout. Like, no, make the gameplay like the originals, but update the animations and all that.
Especially,
honestly,
like you could still have the turn-based combat, just like make it look good.
Well, Ryan did cover something from that dude who was at Jason Ward. I might be saying that wrong, so if Jason will really come in the comments, please don't crucify me if I got the insider wrong. But some kind of insider who said it's going to be a remake / reimagining / sequel. And I'm like, oh,
I'm skeptical about that.
Okay.
If we look at the Final Fantasy VII remake, they changed a lot in that game.
I hear that comparison, Final Fantasy VII, a lot.
Yeah, they changed a lot. Like they changed, I don't know what Nomura was thinking or whatever, but he's like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna add time travel and all this other stuff to it.
Oh god, if Dave Filoni's about, he's gonna have time travel, shove Ahsoka in there. You just know he's gonna do
Oh
that.
no.
And all that. He's gonna do that. But see, here's the thing.
Yeah, with remakes, it's you lose that original feel to the experience, and not only that, but it doesn't really preserve. It doesn't really preserve the art style because I think KOTOR, the graphics, even though they're from 2003, but in my mind they still hold up really well.
And as I said, when you make it for like the CGI snobs or the casual consumer base, it doesn't have much of a long-lasting shelf life. If people are still talking about what stuff they made like 20, 30 years ago, shows that they did their jobs very well. The new stuff they made doesn't even have a shelf life of 6 months.
And how in the original KOTOR, where you'll see a dude talking and he'll do the same 5 hand or arm animations. I always found that kind of funny because it gave it its own charm.
Yeah, like nowadays they say reboot had stiff and jerky movement, but I'm like, it's supposed to be a virtual computer world inside the internet. I don't mind that,
because you'll see this dude ranting or shouting at an NPC, and he'll do that same handshake or fist.
Yeah, the arm jerk.
Oh, how about the boss where suddenly you're playing as Mira, you jump inside the Check car, real cool name by the way. Suddenly she doesn't have her spacesuit on. Oh god, this bug again. Totally ruins the surprise. Let's reload.
See, here's the thing about older games. Even though the animations and graphics are dated, that's what makes them have their own unique charm about them. That's what makes them great.
Who the hell really cares if they're dated? That's the thing.
Yeah, I hate that argument.
Who cares?
I always say graphics do not make a game. It's the story and gameplay that do.
And the characters.
I would like to.
And the characters.
This may be a reason a lot of people get confused on the whole woke / SJW issue is because, in my experience, it's about and easy why it's easy to fall into. I've done it myself, where it's trying to say as a species, as people, that we can be better than we are instead of trying to live with our contradictions. And I don't think we can we? As CGI snobs, and what they're doing now is trying to aim for the pinnacle top peak of utter perfection with the graphics, and so people might connect it to woke and graphic sheen, super polished. And I'm like, maybe there's less crossover than we think, or maybe there's more than we think. I don't know. It's just, I think you shouldn't have so much perfect graphics.
Yeah.
That's why games aren't fun anymore too, because
they're again CGI snobs. I see it in the anime industry too. I see it. Some anime fans going for you, Hawkers, saying, "Oh man, imagine with today's rap animation." I'm like, why are you saying that? They were good at the time.
It's one of the reasons why I still prefer traditional 2D animation over 3D,
Yeah,
No,
I mean,
because,
3D's
you know,
good when it needs to be. Like Reboot, Shrek, and there's one other. What was it?
like
Oh yeah, all
Zootopia
the
was a good
Pixar
movie.
movies.
Zootopia was a good movie, and that's 3D.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Matrix. I feel like Matrix is more in line to Quinlan Voss than the Quinlan Lebowski Dave Filoni gave us.
Oh,
That's such a
God.
great comparison,
Quinlan
dude.
Lebowski.
That's just your opinion, man.
Oh yeah, that was another thing I was gonna say. It was
Oh,
yeah.
Lord.
Why do? Fuck, I forgot what it was. Damn it! Curse this brain of mine.
Yeah. But that reminds me. Speaking of remakes, Iron, if you look in the private chat, I linked you guys a video that we could watch for a little bit that kind of explains my points a little better.
Oh yeah, now I remember. It was a point about 2D animation, and then compared to the stuff we have now. Like, go back to somewhere like the 80s and the 90s and early 2000s. What do you
Yeah.
notice about characters who were like anthropomorphic animals per se? Like, what do you notice about them compared to them in CGI?
Like, look at Mrs. Brisby, for example, from The Secret of Nim.
Yeah, you can actually see their fur. That's the
Yeah.
thing. And
That's the
another
only
thing-
difference is their fur is more detailed.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
more realistic.
As,
Yeah.
and I
It's
say-
more realistic.
as someone who's into hand-drawn cell from Japanese 1990 cell animation, I think that's a lost art form. It's just there's all these little thousands of details that they're just putting in and are having such a ball, and it's like they're just having so much fun, you know. They're not having fun anymore. They're just trying to make it perfect.
Like,
again, the CGI, like I said.
We're moving way too fast instead of enjoying stuff.
like it's one of the reasons why I really liked the recent show that that recently stopped. It was The Lion Guard, and they had it all in 2D animation, but they were using like digital techniques. And yeah, some of the animation looked a little off in the first like season or so, but they actually really improved it, and it looks really good.
Yeah, I don't like how choppy 2D animation is now because you notice they're kind of semi-stiff is the best way I
Yeah.
can put it compared to back then when they were actually really fluid.
Flash animation.
Flash animation is good when it is done right. You have to
That's
be
true,
really
yeah.
skilled with it.
In fact, the perfect example of Flash animation done right is, funny enough, My Little Pony.
Really. Wow.
No, I'm not even kidding. That show
No.
was done in Flash.
I never saw
Doesn't
it.
surprise me.
Wait, wasn't there an anime that was done in Flash really good?
All I know from My Little Pony is that John Delancey voiced the character. Oh, don't want to mess with Q.
No, you know what's an animation style people actually forgot about?
Clay
You ever
animation.
Not just that.
Claymation and stop motion. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
stop motion.
Gumby.
Those are ancient art forms of animation.
Gumby.
Yeah,
Oh,
stop motion's
pal,
good.
I'm here with my pal Pokey.
No, it's just like when I was younger, I used to watch the old Thomas series all the time, and it was like, wow, the amount of effort they put into making those models. Like,
Yeah.
how much money did you spend?
And now
In
they're
fact,
just,
That's impressive.
That reminds me, if you want a really good stop motion film, go watch Kubo and the Two Strings.
Ooh,
film
that
is
was a really good
amazing.
one.
and
Yeah.
and
That
now
film
I
is
would recommend it.
amazing.
and now they're just doing is just their line.
Like the stop motion in that film is so good, it almost looks like a 3D animation.
I mean,
It's
because-
really good.
Empire Strikes Back to water. Because look what J.J. Abrams says. Oh, we're gonna do practical effects. Yeah, it's just a big lie. You know, that's all the thing they do now is just lie. Why do you think they like in the comics industry now? They like to go for the one issue instead of saying, "Oh yeah, we probably made issue 600 or 800 or whatever."
In fact, did you
Actually,
know that
can
the
we-
Marvel Star Wars comics actually steal fan art?
Yeah, I heard about that. That's
They've been stealing fan art, and that's just
Can I
Yeah,
say
they do.
that's lazy and
I
just
do want to address a criticism. Some people say, well, yeah, it's hard to keep up with continuous deadlines and it's hard to work. I'm like, okay, I can understand, but at the same time, it's like, but then that's why you should probably hire people for the right reason, not a kind of wrong reasons. Because in Japan, when they had to work on filler, they had continuous deadlines in adapting source material. How did they do it? They let it go ahead, the manga, by going with filler, you know, and the creative one did it right and the not so creative one did it wrong. You know, you can tell who's who, you know.
Yeah.
Actually, can we go back to J.J. Abrams for a second? I need to ask something that is very, very confusing.
All right.
What the hell is this mystery box style of filmmaking and storytelling he has? Because I have no idea what it is. Can somebody explain it?
That's how he just is, I guess. That's how he makes films.
Ryan said he's like a boy or a dog or something. He likes mysteries. The mystery is how he keeps getting hired.
I'm going to steal a quote from JJ Plagiarisms. What are movies but mystery boxes?
Yeah, that's the biggest problem with JJ is that he plagiarizes so much.
And this is another thing. Because I'd be willing to put down good money to go back to the KOTOR issue. They are not going to put the Legends live on it. So they might say it's for the Legends timeline. That's the best they can do. Or that headcanon could be in both. If they want. But it's not going to have the label on it because they just don't think it will sell. That they're being stupid and think the consumers are idiots.
Okay, one thing I'm worried about if it is in Legends, they'll try to cross over some of the new canon into it. Like they'll call the crystals Kyber crystals. Like,
oh no!
I remember I was watching someone play KOTOR on YouTube, and when he went into the crystal cave, he was like, "Oh, they're the Kyber crystals." I'm like, "No, they're not."
And
that doesn't exist back then.
This is going to be a huge issue for them going forward. I'm starting to wonder if this is the reason Star Wars was so highly beloved prior to George Lucas selling is they specifically tried not to go with a deceptive marketing practice, at least most of the time, They did not go with, just go for that #1 issue. And now they're going to have issues that say Star Wars #1, Star Wars #1, Star Wars #1 for the next 10 and 20 years. Star Wars #1, Star Wars #1, or Star Wars Adventures #1, Star Wars Adventures #1, Clone Wars Adventures #1, Clone Wars Adventures #1. It's kind of worrisome, you know what I mean? Meanwhile, in Japan, I saw a great meme to this effect. You could put this in the video, Iron. It's like, comics, where do I get started? Batman from 2016, 2011, 1940, or Batman Year 1. Oh my God. It's like, manga, chapter 1, bro.
You guys want to know something funny, though?
What?
Matt Wilkins actually hates The Dark Knight Returns, even though he loves Kevin. Even though he loves Frank Miller. Yeah. I'm like, wait, what? Really?
By the way, Iron. I was going to say.
Oh, yeah?
I've been doing that thing recently that we did a couple streams on Luke and Todd's channel. Yeah, it's just the more they're releasing on it, the more just out of it I'm feeling. I'm like, wow, you guys are very. It's just becoming really childish and dumb.
What is, Star Wars?
The High Republic stuff. It's like, I've been reading more of it, and I'm like, this is getting more childish and stupid as I read. Where's the challenging, intelligent arguments of what is morally good? Or, say,
where's the stakes, right?
Yeah.
Question. Did you, reading Reboot more than later elements, watching Reboot than later elements of the High Republic?
I've been doing a little. Wait, what do you mean?
Because you disliking later elements of the High Republic. Which would you like better, Reboot or that?
I like Reboot a little bit more.
I remember that show.
Honestly, it's just I have my own. I don't even care about Disney's ones. I'm just using it to get ideas. It's basically just an idea factory in a way.
Filoni called Legends just a wild idea. Look what you guys are making now.
To be honest, I'd rather have a Jedi Fallen Order sequel or, dare I say, a High Republic game.
Honestly, those would be a lot better. It'd be a lot better than just reading the immature, childish dialogue in the books.
I didn't really care for Fallen Order, to be honest.
This is why they don't do anything new. This is why they gotta keep doing those rehashes. It's just. I just wish we had more. Filoni's all, oh my God, he's just. Everyone calls themselves a Dave. I'm gonna say it again, Dave Filoni. If he's the best guy in the world, what does that say about them? You get the High Republic. This is why I have to remake it and change it to be whatever they want.
Iron.
Oh yeah.
If you look at that link I sent.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna go share the link now.
Yeah, it kind of relates. It kind of relates to what I'm talking about regarding remakes. It's exactly how I feel.
Because Dave Filoni is all now saying you're making it. That's the funniest thing I ever heard. Or you went to go see Star Wars and you went to your father, and now you want to take that away from him, make it all dark and sinister and evil. He could never give you reboots. He could never do that.
Yeah.
Never. Reboot
Alright,
is one of a kind, unique, and all around creative in and of itself. And if anyone
Really
tries to
cool.
remake it, then good luck.
But yeah, I want you guys to watch this video because
Yeah, I'm gonna play the video now. So
it gives excellent points on why remakes are silly sometimes.
I feel like one of the main reasons I've grown so cynical towards remakes is the state of games preservation at the moment. With a widespread lack of backwards compatibility for both digital and physical media restricting which vintage titles we can play, alongside the distributors themselves acting like older games are just a load of garbage in their original state, it's easy for me to get a bit cynical when they start retooling old titles and reselling them to us at top dollar with across-the-board changes. While you can go to any high street store and buy a decades-old film or album, the iterative proprietary nature of consoles makes picking up anything too old in our medium a little more tricky. That's why, in theory, I don't have too much against HD remasters. They serve as the equivalent to me of a good Blu-ray re-release, keeping the original work as intact as possible, while boosting things like resolution, frame rates, maybe speeding up loading times, stuff the original devs probably would have wanted if they could have on these games' original platforms. Plus, in some cases, they allow us Europeans to finally play some games at their intended 60 Hz frequency. And while it's still possible to mess them up beyond belief, at least usually they're a way of getting old games into new hands without messing with them. Until, of course, the next generation comes around and they become incompatible and obsolete again. But still, here they
that's
are,
kind of annoying,
on shelves,
yeah.
classics in their original form, mostly unbesmirched. That's why when I look at something like the Crash Insane Trilogy, I kind of have mixed feelings. It's a pretty faithful re-release of the original Naughty Dog platformer trilogy in a lot of regards, kind of akin to an HD collection port release. But on the other hand, it's also seen fit to revamp the OG releases with remixed aesthetics and graphics. Is it an unnecessary retooling of some beloved classics, or is it the re-emergence of the Bandicoot we've all been waiting for? Well, the answer lies somewhere in the middle. You may have heard I had a couple of negative choice words to say about the Ratchet & Clank PS4 remake, which, while keeping a bit of the original's level design, decided to change the gameplay, the story, the tone, the visuals, the dialogue, remove half the content. Unlike that game, Insane Trilogy tries to stay pretty true to the original games in terms of structure and gameplay. To a surprising degree, I was actually taken aback as to how faithful each game is to its original control feel. I felt a significant upgrade in the precision of the controls when I switched from Crash 1 to Crash 2, much like how it was with the OG releases. It feels like Crash, lacking any ham-fisted attempts to update the gameplay or rubber band what is otherwise a satisfying challenge of a platformer trilogy. And that's good, because you know if this was a Nintendo re-release, there would be some kind of super guide super mode where you get infinite Aku Aku masks or something. A few bits of geometry were striking me as a bit weird though, like I don't remember having to slide jump quite this much in the later two games to get by. But otherwise, bish bash boosh, Crash is here, baby! Additions are kept fairly tasteful. Time trial modes that were added in Crash 3 are now present in the first two games, and that doesn't seem out of order. I'm sure Naughty Dog would have done the same if they had come up with that idea sooner. But let's get back to that HD collection comparison. Because while Insane Trilogy adds a bunch of stuff and tries to supercharge the visuals, it actually lacks a lot of updates that make for a good HD re-release. Does it improve the frame rate? No. Does it improve loading times? Absolutely not. In fact, this is probably one of the biggest things going against it. Loading that was seconds on PS1 is now painfully longer with these gross, empty, placeholder-looking ass screens. The frame rate is still 30, but at least that isn't a downgrade from 60 like with Ratchet. But at this point in time, could we really not smooth Crash up a bit? I mean, Activision and Sony released a trailer where the games were at 60, and then they released the game and they're not? So, is there really too much reason to get Insane Trilogy over the originals? Unless you really want some time trials. Well, what about those graphics, man? When I look at
Them
something like the
graphics.
new visuals on Insane Trilogy, I don't really go, wow, better. I go, wow, different. Both styles were made at the peak of their respective era's technology. They'll both be outdated at some point. They both represent different milestones in their time. Jaggy, poly, 32-bit graphics, they have their own artistry to them, the same way pixel art or something does. And I can see the merit and beauty in both this old style and the new style. The big difference, though, is that one visual style was created specifically to bring to life an original vision, while the other is just trying to make an already existing vision look more technologically impressive to convince people to buy a game they might already own again. And in doing so, there's no way to completely recreate the exact same mood and feel that the original intended, or perhaps didn't intend, but nonetheless ended up forming the OG classic we fell in love with. You can't re-roll the dice when you start changing assets and textures and colors and land on the same weird, perfect formula. That's why I can't look at Insane Trilogy's visuals and go, better! Even if ever so slightly, it's a different interpretation of what looks good for Crash. And in theory, there's nothing inherently wrong with that. Perhaps there is something unnecessary about it. I just can't bring myself to call it an objective upgrade. Sometimes remakes can deliver something really interesting with this approach. When Mikami redirected the original Resident Evil with souped up visuals, the atmosphere of the game was different, but there was something to be said about how much spookier it got. Insane's visual change, though, I don't feel really adds any tangible benefit to the experience, and in some cases I think it's actually a bit of a detriment to the vibe of the original. I could sit here talking about bits of lighting and shading and color that changed the feel of the game, the dark moodiness of some areas now being undercut by the need for super bright, bloomy, buy this game visuals, but I think there'll be people doing that and giving exact detailed comparisons. Like, that's pretty much all the Crash videos on YouTube right now. I'll just say that, the new look doesn't do a terrible lot for me. Wow, that sentiment was totally worth the last 3 paragraphs of elaborating, Charlie. You can't perfectly recreate a classic if you decide to alter how it looks to this degree. And I can just go play the originals with the added bonus of shorter loading times. But in this case, I do see the value in having Insane Trilogy around. 3D platformers aren't really a super big genre at the moment, and while I think the idea that kids need super high quality mega graphics to enjoy a game is kind of baloney, I think the Minecraft and Five Nights at Freddy's sections in your local Forbidden Planet attest to that.
Indeed.
Trying to pump these games out again as faithfully as possible with some added modern graphical flair to give the new kids on the block a taste of Crash, well, I can't really knock that entirely. Something to consider to perhaps preserve these old games better, and something that would stop wankos like me getting so anal about changes to the vision and all that stuff in remakes, is when rights permitting to just include the original with the remake. Actually, this should be done by law. Metroid Zero Mission did that, and it was great. Halo Anniversary even let you switch back on the fly, which is probably as good as it gets. But regardless of that, at least the kiddos with Insane Trilogy are still, like, getting these games pretty much fully intact as games here anyway. They're not dumbed down for complete little babies.
Try as he might, Ratchet could not breathe underwater.
It's not some bastardized on every level, so they're getting something of value here. So why then do I have a problem with stuff like the Shadow of the Colossus remake, which is also pretty one-to-one structure-wise? Aside from the fact that I think the new realistic visuals are kind of clashing with the PS2 models the developers are trying to stay faithful to, Shadow of the Colossus is like this dark, mature experience with like grown-up themes, a haunting fairy tale from back when big-budget art games were still games. So I feel like if you're an adult and you need this Picasso over here to be rubbed down and drawn in again all shiny, you may not be in this one for the right reasons, and maybe you need to get your priorities a little straightened out. Although from the looks of things, the new meme on the block and some online reviews, even the adults are struggling with Crash now, which is weird, because if anything, there are a few tiny tweaks in here that, if anything, make the game a bit easier. You don't need to beat levels without dying in Crash 1 to get the gem. You got these little hints telling you what to do. I mean, yeah, honestly, I don't know how I figured out as a kid how to get the blue gem in Crash 2 in the original, but I did without help. So I want everyone to suffer like I did. But honestly, it's the fact that own professional video game reviewers are struggling to beat a game I did when I was like 6 that makes me the happiest Insane Trilogy. Because I think giving the kids today a taste of a fun challenge like the one Crash offers and the satisfaction that comes with it will do wonders in molding the connoisseurs of the future. Hey gang, thanks for watching. This video was
That was really good. Like, summed it up pretty well.
You know, while we were watching that, I have my own point too that I like to bring up about remakes, and that actually goes back to the '90s, even if you can believe that.
Yeah.
Ooh, let's hear it.
We were talking about this KOTOR remake. Is remakes back then, like for older movies, Inherit the Wind or 12 Angry Men, which were classics in their time. It, you know, they at least I feel like remakes are generally not that liked compared to the originals, because even if you do something like 12 Angry Men, which had a lot of good actors for their era, even in the remake, there could be valid reasons to make it like to show off how far we've come or whatever. Because in the 1950s, only white guys could be jurors, and they even made some of the idiots or bigots of black people in the 1990s, which something they couldn't do today. It's probably generally not as good as the 1950s because they had more of a generally old-time chivalrous, romantic kind of well-written kind of classical feel, and it just people are cinephiles. They're probably going to prefer the older ones, even though I don't.
Probably, yeah.
I grew up with those, and remakes are generally not preferred to the originals. But I think it's just the inertia of time probably just renders all of them obsolete anyway. Like, who many people today know Flash Gordon except as that thing that expired in George Lucas,
Honestly, with in terms of video games, I always feel if you're going to remake a game or whatever, just do a remaster because you still keep the original graphics and you can even modernize the controls to be better.
Mm-hmm.
Like look at the Kingdom Hearts HD collection, for example. It's still the same games. They just up the graphics a tiny bit, and they made it better.
Yeah, like
the
they're
part of the video where he brought up how some changes they made ruined the atmosphere.
Yeah,
like
that's another thing too.
Think about the KOTOR remake. Think about the Undercity. How that scared me as a kid. It was creepy and dark.
The music.
Or when you go in the upper city too, it feels like the gates of heaven when the music plays.
Exactly.
The internet has consolidated everything, divided us in our little subcultures, and divided us so much that despite we're united in our little niches, the corporations are just seizing more and more control over our art and our hobbies, and they're not going to have music that good because the executives won't allow them to have it. You're not going to have something like Mark Brisky for KOTOR 2 levels for the remake. I guarantee you that. And
I'm gonna be surprised if they actually bring back freaking Jeremy Soule for the remake.
Yeah. I think Jeremy Soule did great things with the Harry Potter games. The first two on the PC.
Wait, he composed the music for the Harry Potter games?
Really? Yeah, the first two, Chamber of Secrets and the Philosopher's Stone, or Sorcerer's Stone, they call it that.
Oh shit!
Wow.
You know what else sucks about modern day shows and video games?
Yeah.
We don't have any good memes anymore. They don't give us any good memes.
Well, you see, I'm very old school. In a few months, I turned 33, and I can tell you I was there for the cusp of the gaming era. All the stuff I remember, a lot of people won't even remember probably now. Secret Island of Dr. Quandary, Mystic Towers, One Must Fall, 2099, Lenny's Plays, stuff like that. And it's just, they're kind of quirky, individualized, personalized, and it has that more homey, comfortable, atmospheric flavor, just like they were saying. There's words George Lucas spoke to this effect that's like, do you want me to play that video? It's just a minute long. You could share my screen.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Go ahead.
Let me do it.
Right here.
Oh,
Hopefully it'll be loud enough. Anyway,
you see it. I can make it loud enough. He spoke to George Lucas. What he sees as the biggest threat to the filmmaking industry.
Museum of Narrative Art in Chicago, at the urging of his wife, CBS News contributor Melody Hobson. The museum will
I've seen this interview.
Memorabilia along with works of art, and I talked to him about the future of the movie business.
I think the issue is ultimately, what are you selling? In the end, you're selling creativity, raw creativity from talented people. Now, look, the problem has always been with the studios, although the beginning of the studios, the entrepreneurs who ran the studios were sort of creative guys. They would just take books and turn them into movies and do things like that. Suddenly all these corporations were coming in. They didn't know anything about the movie business. So they said, well, maybe we should hire kids from film school. They supposedly know how to make films. So suddenly we could get jobs, which was a fantastic thing. But then the studios went back and said, well, we don't trust these people, and we think we know how to make movies. The studios change everything all the time, and unfortunately, they don't have any imagination, and they don't have any talent.
Yep.
There was a good studio executive at Fox when they did start He believed in me because he loved American graffiti. He said, "You're a talented guy. I'll do whatever you want to do." But you never hear that today. But he said,
Oh my, yeah.
dogs flying spaceships around. It doesn't make any sense to me. Are you sure this is going to work? And I said, well, I know it's different, but I believe in it.
It's my movie.
Yeah. But you can't do that today. You just can't. And certain directors have gotten away with doing kind of crazy things, but they're like very few and far between.
Yeah.
And you kind of wonder how they got to do it. But if the studios keep doing the same cookie cutter movie over and
It's going to be an implosion.
and they cost a lot of money.
That is really just
That's another.
Wow.
That's another point I just remembered. Like all these modern graphics and stuff that they're putting into these remakes, it's a waste of money and it's a waste of time.
Especially for something that's not going to be remembered compared to the original.
Yeah. Honestly,
that
this-
reminds me. Watch the new Matrix movie have woke politics.
Yeah. Yeah. Honestly, I love the Crash Bandicoot remake and the Spyro remake.
The Matrix now? Really?
What it was.
Oh my god, they have no. So I hear they're going to remake Short Circuit or reboot Short Circuit and Flight of Niagara. Like, how can you do that? Those movies were. You'd be amazed with what they did with that animatronic that was for number 5 and then Johnny 5 in those movies. It's meant to be a robot and it moved. Just wow. It's just.
It was really cool.
Yeah.
That reminds me. Speaking of movie reboots and stuff, I actually have another video to show you guys, and it's really funny because it emphasizes exactly what you guys are talking about.
Yeah.
So,
honestly, if I were to,
I linked it in the chat.
Since we are talking about a KOTOR remake, one thing I like to bring up to touch again on the female Revan point, or I said books were never canon, game mechanics, but I think ignoring how a lot of fans feel is, as I said, it's just deliberate gaslighting, because I feel like, whatever political aisle you're aligned on, I'm independent, liberal, center left, is I feel like people who watch the news constantly, who go on social media all the time, like a lot of these employees at Lucasfilm, I've seen what they say. I used to be like that. They want to get a discussion on Rice School, and they say we need it because I will say we used to have a very racist, sexist background. Like, how are you ever going to overcome it if you keep going this way? They want to get these kind of social issues talking.
Yeah,
they really want to get talking. So that's what the gaslighting is.
They only do it because they're attention whores.
That's
it. Some of them are.
They're pretty much preaching to the choir.
Because I don't mind, again, an alternate universe where the original Revan and female Revan do the gameplay mechanics. I don't have issues with it because it's like it's equal alternate time. The original canon was Legends, okay, but they're gonna have to splinter them all off into alternate timelines now. I accept that, but it's just the gaslighting to get a discussion on social issues going. Could I be wrong? Maybe, but the way it's going, the way I used to feel, the way I see the critics talking, it's hard to disagree.
All right, let's see the video Rave Blitz sent us.
You guys will get a good laugh. It's great.
Hopefully perhaps one day in time, we will have creativity again and people will come back to how they were. Well, things will go back to how they were. God, why did I say that last thing?
All right, here we go.
Who are you? The name is Bond. Yeah.
No.
What in the affirmative action is going on? You're not James Bond. You're more of a Jerome Bond. Maybe a Tyrone Bond.
Tyrone Bond.
No, you're not. James Bond is a white male. He's always been a white male. Well, James Bond has never really had a specific race. But he's always been white, so it should kind of stay that way. What's next? A black Superman? Mexican Harry Potter? Asian Terminator? No fucking thing.
It's funny. But these are real apparently. How can they say that? Maybe because it's just tone-deaf executives saying what they do.
White.
Exactly.
Boys in the Hood with an all-white cast.
Oh no, God.
Exactly. Fuck. First Annie, now this bullshit.
They act like they just invented black people. I've seen thousands of them in great media from the 90s. Keenan and Kel. Remember that? Yes.
Yeah.
Love that as a kid. God. Oh,
Honestly,
you know, they'd say, yeah, that's so racist. That was dumb, and Keenan's a plotting schemer. Oh, my God.
Listen to what he says, though.
honestly, I don't mind gender and race swapping sometimes if it's done with respect to the original character.
Yeah.
But if it's done like this, then what the fuck? Like just what the effing loving fuck?
Well, because apparently, listen to this. I see more black YouTubers upset about the idea of a race swap Superman because they know it's pandering and they rightfully don't like that.
Cast Christopher Judge.
What they're gonna say is what they're gonna say is there's this alt-right hate that's pushing back, and I'm supposed to be the target demographic they're attacking, a cishet white male. And let me tell you this: in theory, I don't dislike the idea of a race swap black Superman, even the call out Clark Kent thing in an alternate universe that's equal during the civil rights era, doing what Superman does. It's just the fact that it's J.J. Abrams and the typical hackery that accompanies him that makes me hesitant. It's not going to be good writing. It's not going to be interesting, so I don't care. This is how you respect black people. You bring in J.J. Abrams. I'm going to pass. You know? It's just,
you know what movie franchise I'm surprised hasn't been attacked by the woke mob yet?
Yeah.
Which one?
Austin Powers.
Oh, based on what my friend has shown me, there'd be a lot of stuff that'd be attacked.
I freaking love Austin Powers.
Austin Powers is great.
It's great. He's like, oh, very shagadelic, baby.
I haven't seen that in 20 years. I liked it a lot more as a kid.
Austin Powers is great.
It's on HBO Max, and I've been watching all 3 movies for almost a week now.
But yeah, I want to say this thought. Imagine a J.J. Abrams type Stargate reboot. Yes.
Ugh.
Oh my, what will you do with that?
Yes.
Dude, you would eviscerate the fuck out of that. You really would.
But my problem is this: I'm supposed to be the target demographic. They're saying is so offended by the idea of a black race swap Superman. I'm like, look, if you're gonna bring in J.J. Abrams, what's he gonna do? Go around popping the heads of KKK? No, that's not Superman. Even if he's black, you're losing the soul there. In alternate universe, I don't mind that, but I see black people get more upset. It's like, why aren't you paying attention?
See, something like Miles Morales works because he was already an established character in the comic books.
Or that too, yeah.
Spider-Man.
Oh yeah, I remember that Spider-Verse movie from a few years back.
Yeah, that's why everybody loves. That's why everybody loves Miles Morales. He works.
Here what they're gonna do with Spider-Man. I did watch the older Spider-Man trilogy with Tobey Maguire. They're gonna bring in Doc Ock for some kind of multiverse crossover. But I'm like, wait, he drowned at the end. He redeemed himself. The only way this would work, and I don't think they're gonna do it that much, is if they brought it in or he's still building his machine. But then how do you get him to work for you? There's gonna be no conflict in this. It's just these Easter eggs, oh my god.
Might end up being that, yeah. But who knows? We'll see.
Yeah.
Shit, what was it? Fuck. If this KOTOR remake actually succeeds, and they start doing their own thing with it, I wouldn't be surprised if they ended up showing Tar Vizsla himself.
Well, listen, if they actually do adapt it pretty close to the older game, then I don't know. I feel like they always knew Old Republic so well, so it probably wouldn't change that much. Yeah. But maybe it means they'll actually try adapting other Legend stuff. They're just not going to use the label.
Guys, can you imagine, though, a Jedi Outcast remake?
Oh, yes.
I have that game. I would rather play that on the GameCube. I have in my room.
And you know who should develop it?
Who?
Raven Software.
Ugh. I don't play modern games. I don't watch modern movies or TV shows. I'm kind of an oddball. I like to know all.
Because you can bring back the original developers to make a remake. And I think
that would be very good.
Honestly, back in the whole thing with Star Wars, like I know in Legends it would be very questionable to have it, but I'll just leave it at canon. Like it's a certain weapon.
I just don't understand. I feel like half of Lucasfilm was not talking to the other half. That's where you get these Civil War rumors that are totally off base. Kenny's going to be renewed past September, and honestly, we don't know if she's going to work. So she could be holding back someone worse. Is it her or Disney? I can't say, but because it's fans want the original stories in the continuity told that way, and And you could take a character like Kyle Katarn and say he's canon and quote unquote, just due to the source book. Let's not kid ourselves. The stories are not going to be the same. And due to Rogue One,
Exactly.
All it is a name. They're giving a name to a new character. That's not the same.
Pretty much.
It's
Yeah.
not going to be the same because of what happened in Rebels. They can.
In fact,
they can try adapting Heir to the Empire and Mandalorian. I wouldn't be surprised if Favreau thinks that Filoni is his go-to lore guy, but it's not going to be the same because of what they did in Rebels. His backstory is different. He peaked during the Empire. Ruck was killed, I believe, and Pelin already knows Thrawn and what he can do.
In fact,
fusion with the Empire here, so it's like there's going to be a lot of context that you remove that you can't do there. And plus, he was destroyed by space whales. Oh, God.
In fact, I'm glad you brought that up because Matt Wilkins actually made an exact video on that topic.
Yes.
Actually, you know what weapon in Star Wars that I wish could still be a part of Legends, but can't?
What?
Which one?
The dark saber. I wish it could be a part of Legends, but
I mean, it technically is because TCW is still part of Legends.
Not really.
They might try.
Honestly, I like what Favreau did with it in the Mando, making the hilt actually light up and making it look more like an actual lightsaber.
It's what they want is the original storyline continued, and it's just like I said, there's these halves of Lucasfilm, probably more than one half, two halves. It's just that are not talking to each other, that are kind of like borderline incompetent, and it's why don't we get new Legends books?
In fact, most of the people at Lucasfilm pretty much left. Did you know that?
Yeah.
Because there was I don't know if you know this, but do you guys know Ben Burt?
No.
Oh yeah, the sound designer.
Yeah, the sound designer for all the Star Wars films. He left.
Wow.
Mainly because during the production of The Force Awakens, Ben Burt had like several different sounds for like BB-8 and the lightsabers and the vehicles and everything. And J.J. Abrams rejected every single one of his ideas, and he just walked out.
Wow.
And J.W. Renzo and James Lucino, they just stepped out in 2016. Rest in peace, J.W. Renzo. Yeah, but they left because they could see exactly what was going to happen, and they purged everyone else, but the cronies, the toadies, and the sycophants, you know.
Yeah.
And it doesn't surprise me that Filoni's working there, and sadly Timothy's on from what I see, because he's only interested in working in his little niche, and a lot of people don't remember this. Matt Wilkins talked about. He kind of was a bit mocking and kind of snobbish back in the day. You know, suddenly it makes sense that a diva like him works there. You know, it just maybe I'm just because I like young Jedi Knights, and he did not want to connect to the comics. It's just you know.
Yeah. Task Force, what's your thought on all this?
Yeah, he's
mainly, I gotta say, I really like the original KOTOR games, especially number 2. That was probably my favorite, but maybe a second.
Good.
Mainly, it's like I am kind of scared with the remake is if they like make changes, and mainly it's like the one thing that I loved about the Richard KOTOR games is basically how original like the ideas were and how you could do different storylines and basically make it unique and basically almost make it your own storyline while following what the game was designed to do. But to me, it's like there's just certain characters from the games that you just can't really remake. And to me, it's like if they try to remake someone like, to me, if they try to remake the Darth Nihilus, I think that would be very hard to do.
Yeah, you know what they could do with this? What if they added like multiple endings besides just the light side and dark side ending?
Like a gray Jedi ending.
I think they're too uncreative.
There was a gray Jedi ending that was actually cut from the game.
Oh.
I think.
I'm pretty sure you can re-add it with mods or something.
I think they're just too uncreative to do that. Like give 2 endings to the dark side and light side. They're just too uncreative to do that.
Can you imagine though if they take Joey Bendo and just make him an average Jedi? I'm like, no, please don't do that.
We could imagine, but at the end of the I mean, how Matt Wilkins put it, oh no, I love Star Wars. Just my team ain't playing right now. Yeah, my team has been playing since 2014. They got a chance to bat in 2019. We're past that. Don't consider Old Republic that because I hear Old Republic MMO has been going a bit downhill. They say, I guess.
Yeah, it's gotten bad.
They keep bringing back Vitiate over and over again.
You know, he's just.
Damn.
Carpet shit is probably.
That's almost as bad as bringing back the Emperor.
Since Drew Carpet shit is a Stargate fan, I'm probably willing to bet that that's just an advice. I just go with Anubis, something like that.
That makes me wonder: is Drew actually rewriting for the remake, or is he not on the project?
I do know you cannot do KOTOR without Tales of the Jedi, and most people there don't know about it. Dave Filoni clearly does not know about it. Again, changed Audron and Duxon. That was consistent in the comics and the original KOTOR games. How do you not do that when there's continuity between games with computers from 2002 or whatever, and comics from the early 90s?
I do know Aspire had an interview where they did say they were going to try to stay as faithful as possible to the original game.
Oh yeah, they could say that. It just
I'm crossing my fingers.
Who's to say Lucasfilm can't step in, and they may say it's Legends. Does Lucasfilm say it's Legends? Is Lucasfilm going to put the Legend banner on, or they're just going to say not put the Legend banner? Say, oh, it could be in both. It just they want you to think Old Republic could be in this new timeline, or both, or it's not. It's like they hate Legends, or like they just don't think the label sells because there's the Infinity stuff, but there's also the C canon timeline, but also it takes something like Tales of the Jedi. Even if you go into the first pages, he says, I'm not exactly known for my historical accuracy. And it's like, he goes right to Skippy the Force sensitive door. It's like, but there you go, E-haters. There is where Skippy is. He pretty much said he's not into historical accuracies. I like to imagine instead of the common explanation, Filoni's Clone Wars is just 2D holo vids. PJ Moba's Holo Emporium around 1000 ABY. That's my headcanon.
Huh.
I'm reading some of these comments on Facebook about the KOTOR remake.
Yeah.
Somebody's just like, I really hope this means the KOTOR games are being officially recanonized. There's no reason for them not to be, as they're early enough in the timelines.
How many comments did KOTOR 2 make to other EU material? They don't get it. The EU was a binding continuity. You can't just pick and choose like a sour. Just what Pablo Hidalgo said back in the day. But to make that the official management style is poor because that was never the management style. They wanted to make it one overall universe. And it's just they want to keep going on the recanonizing Easter egg train, and at some point you hit a brick wall because the stories cannot and will never be the same.
Come up with your own stuff, please. Yeah. Stop using Legends as a crutch. Oh, and Rave, that reminds me of there was a comment in the video about the KOTOR remake, and there was someone like, finally, is KOTOR going to be finally officially canon? As if there was a question. They were questioning if it ever was, and I'm like, it always was until 2014.
It's funny that you mentioned that because I'm looking at the remake page here on Wikipedia, and they specifically have the Legends banner on this article regarding the remake.
Oh, what does that mean?
It's still under Legends.
I still have questions. Is it Legends or Disney? Are you going to use the Legends label or not? What about these little inevitable changes you're going to make? They are going to try to type it.
According to Wikipedia, as it says here, it says, as the original Knights of the Old Republic is part of the Legends continuity, the remake is also considered as such.
I just don't trust anything at this point. Now, to be fair, if whoever's remaking it gets someone who actually plays through it like 2 or 3 times and says, okay, this is what you do to remake it, and they listen to them, that could work and get player reaction.
I will give them.
But if Lucas
I'll give them this,
then there could be a problem.
I will give them this. If they are going to stay faithful to the original, and if they don't change anything, and if it is under the Legends timeline, this is pretty much the newest Legends content that we're going to get.
If it doesn't have the Legends label, I won't buy it. It's just that simple. It's just I'd rather play the original games. It's just
I mean, yeah, that's
It's
fine.
just insulting. It's just they don't think it's going to sell, and they don't want to give us the original stories and the characters and what they went through because they don't know about it. Because they pretty much said they're Dave Filoni acolytes, and he barely knows about it. So what do we expect them to know about anything like that? You know?
Well, in the end, I probably will end up supporting it because
if it has
it's new Legends material, I will get anything new with Legends on it.
I mean, if they do good with it,
what if they say it's Legends and
I
it doesn't
might
have their banner on it? What then? What about they have thousands of little changes? I don't like remakes. I probably just get the original. It's just I don't need.
I mean, like, I'm against remakes too, but if they do, if Aspire does good with it, and if they don't really,
we're falling into the
anything,
trap. I feel like we're falling into this trap. They're not going to give us more Legends books and novels, which is what we've been asking for. Continuing the original storyline, the original characters. They're just still trying to give us Easter eggs and the new stuff. But
what if this is another test bed to see how well it will do?
I feel like we're falling into a trap. I just
honestly,
I bought if by some chance a Lucasfilm executive is looking at this, I bought six copies of the bootleg Heart of the Jedi. I won't be buying this. I want the original stories and
well, see, here's the thing though, that if they do stay faithful and they don't change anything, and they are sticking with the Legends canon, and they are sticking with the original storyline.
Well, I have asked this before. If they change Slave One, what else are they going to change? Or Disney.
And considering Lucasfilm Games is the only one that's publishing it.
Just remember,
they're not.
EA is not touching it.
Just remember,
thank God.
That's positive.
Just remember, it's not just Lucasfilm; it's Disney. If they got upset by Slave One, what's they going to get upset by? I agree with someone like Ryan. Maybe that thing recently was just some kind of fire spray, was some kind of gaslighting to fans to try and get them fighting. But I can most assuredly tell you that you're not going to get that name in like the Book of Boba Fett. You're going to get references to, let's get to my ship. We got hurry. Let's get to the ship. Hurry up. Fire up the thrusters for the ship. You're not going to get the name. I guarantee you that.
Because if I'm looking at Aspire, and they've actually done some really, really, really good ports of the recent.
It's just not what
games.
I was gonna say, you think changing Slave One's bad? Wait till they react to a naked Bastila or a half-naked Bastila on Terrace.
Yeah, well, the problem is that I just haven't been able to play KOTOR 2. That's what I cared about in 3 years, and I kind of feel like the Revenant already overdid KOTOR 2 because Drew Carpenter didn't like it, kind of like Jay.
I'm actually curious now.
Jedi, and
hold on, Siberian. I do have something to say.
In the post-Endor Legends era, I find that great, but they're just not giving us that. They're just not.
I am actually curious if they're going to be hiring a new voice actor for Canderous, considering his original died.
That's true.
They're going to throw
in dead.
And also, Ed Asner passed away too, so they need someone else to voice Brooke or
Rook Lamar.
They're going to throw in
the Tool Jedi Master.
They're going to throw some kind of Easter egg to High Republic. Just you wait. They want people to think it can exist in both timelines because they don't want to make it exclusive to Legends, who they know are niche, because they don't have faith in the banner, but they want the Disney. This is what you do when you divide a fan base. You're just that creatively bankrupt.
Yeah.
Like I said, the only thing from canon I actually enjoyed was Mando, and this thing on my profile pic is the only reason I got invested in the show, because I just wanted to know how the hell he got it and how it would look up close in live action.
They moved Tython to the Outer Rim, I hear. Oh my God. They eat corns and industrial fishing.
No, it isn't. It's in the core. It's still in the core.
Oh, they still
worlds.
kept it there?
Yes.
That's
still
good.
in the core worlds.
What is?
Tython.
But
no, like I said, the only reason I got invested in Mando was because of the dark saber.
It's just here's my thing. It's just a KOTOR remake is just way too predictable, easy, bland, and safe for new Legends. Even if they put the banner on and go 100% faithful or as close as they can, it's too marketable. It's too easy, too safe. It's what they knew would sell. It's just.
To be fair, though, even though it's a remake, and usually I'm against remakes, if it's Legends, I'll buy it.
Same here, as I said.
I generally not much of a gamer. I don't even know if I have the right console. not to date with modern consoles.
Especially considering it's on PC, which makes me happy. I won't have to buy a PS5.
Aaron, I was gonna say, like, what are your thoughts on what I was talking about earlier? Because
what specifically?
I was saying the only reason I got invested in Mando was because of what's on my profile pic.
I mean, that's cool. I mean,
yeah,
there's
kind
stuff
of
in the new canon I do like, you know.
Like this is the only thing I majorly like out of it, because look what they did with the hill. They made it light up. It looks more rounded than it does.
Oh, so that's what it is.
It has a lot of detail on it, because I hated the way it looked in the Clone Wars. I hated it. But then when Mando came along, they just made the Darksaber look better, and I'm just like, okay, now I want a replica of this.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, it sucks it can't fit into Legends, though.
The first season I heard can, though, of Mando.
Well, of course, it's the first season. It's new, and he's doing more of this. Oh, we're going to do some kind of side quest, and then season 2 Bologna video game festival.
I was talking about the Darksaber, not Mando.
Yeah, but they say it could fit in. Yeah, just wait till they get closer to the Force Awakens timeline. You know, Barrow said he would like to explore that. And people just keep insisting over and over it's going to be retcon. Hasn't Doomcock proven over and over again that his sources are either telling what they want to hear or are wrong?
Who seriously
matter what
takes Doomcock seriously?
You have to be an idiot to take him seriously.
Indeed.
Actually, speaking of retcons, I just had a thought one time. If you could retcon the death of one character and just finish off their story in a way you envisioned it, who would it be?
Wait, say again?
If you could retcon the death of one character in Star Wars to finish off their story you thought it would end, the way that you thought it would end, who would it be?
For me, it would be Mitra Surik, the Jedi Exile.
For me, it's Coleman Trebor.
And I do that with the Revan novel. I hear it really dropped the ball.
For me, that's a tough question. I don't know.
Yes, Siberian, who would you do?
That's kind of a weirdly worded question. I don't know. You're asking a character I wouldn't have wished died.
But if you could make it so they never died, and you could finish off a story the way you envisioned it.
A lot of people would probably say Mara Jade. I'd probably go something like Anakin Solo or whatever, or they'd say Chewie, I guess. You know?
Yeah.
I might say Thrawn, but it was the properly written Thrawn.
Yeah.
Said he would have kept him going if he knew it was so popular, but she got killed alone at the end of an arc.
For me,
because if it was properly written, he would have destroyed them all again, regrouped, came back within a year, taken over. You know, like
for me, it would most likely be Ahsoka.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Because George Lucas actually wanted her dead.
Yes.
Yeah, he wanted her gone, and that's an example of his vision being ignored.
I love how Filoni treats it as some kind of little playful, creative difference.
I mean, I like Ahsoka. I think
Same here.
Same. I like her, but
I like Ahsoka, and I think
you've done her story in a different way. Her story could have been done differently.
He keeps calling him the canon over and over, but he shows he has no problem defining the canon. What he means is he has no canon himself. Not that George has a canon. Just from listening to the way he talks about, but you did with Grievous out fighting in space. I'm just like, George's like, I get the feeling that he tricked up George a lot because he's fast talking and at least has a little bit of service knowledge on this stuff. So that, take it from me, I'm an INFP, and I know that we kind of don't want to be seen as hypocrites. We want to play fair, and we wear our feelings on our sleeves. And I think that's how George was. He was very easy to manipulate. We're kind of very prey to manipulation. I feel like Filoni was manipulating him a lot just to get what he wanted. It's just Ahsoka feels more like his baby than hers, and it shows. All he gave her was the name.
Here's the thing, though.
Malachor 5 should have been her grave.
It's like the analogy that I forgot who it was, but it was a comparison he made between Nihilus and Mitra. Nihilus's relationship is parasitic. He takes things but does not give back. Mitra's was symbiotic. She took things but gave back in the end.
Yeah. To be honest, with all the jaded fans out there, if you're KOTOR fans and if you don't like how this is going to be just a shallow rehash, I'd highly suggest the Stargate series. We've said it during our viewing, right, Iron? That
Yeah, I think we did.
Anubis
Stargate is really good. I would highly recommend it.
Anubis is like the Emperor meet Darth Nihilus, whatever. He is almost like in terms of his goals, motivation, bearing, and his mindset. Is almost.
And there was something recently we watched that reminded me of like Dark Empire Palpatine.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, speaking of Nihilus, Avalon said that Nihilus in an interview that Nihilus's design was based off of this villain from an anime he watched.
Anime?
Was it Spirited Away?
Yeah, Spirited Away. It was the main villain of that movie that he based Nihilus's design off of.
That's pretty cool.
I think it was No Face or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, the amount of media that anime has shaped and the amount of creativity it gave others, that's why anime is so respected amongst everybody.
Now
anime is great.
It's like it's getting a revolution now because a lot of Japanese fans are just going over to old anime, new manga, old manga because there's a bit less deceptive practices. There's still a bit greed and problems and abuse behind the scenes.
Yeah, there's greed everywhere, no matter where
It's
you
why
go.
it's why I'm excited. That's why I'm excited that Bleach is coming back.
Yeah, but less than
That's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, but less of those deceptive marketing practices that are in America, and more originality and less constraint to political dogmatism. More of the artists at least getting a bit more control over their own artistic vision, and that's what people.
In fact, it's funny that you mentioned that.
Look at Netflix. Netflix is doing. Oh my god!
It's funny that you mentioned that. A lot of Japanese anime and manga readers are making fun of American comic artists and everything because they think it's weird. They think it's really strange how everyone is getting so uptight and over politics and shit.
Yeah. Why do you think Digimon did that little get together to fight political correctness?
Oh God.
It was golden.
Yeah.
Also, it's just there's actually one anime that I heard was really hard to get into, and that was JoJo's Bizarre Adventures.
Yeah,
I've heard good things about that one.
Yeah, but it's really difficult to get into.
JoJo is fun but weird.
I've heard similar things about Haruhi Tensumiya, Haru Suzumiya, or whatever it's called. How you pronounce the name? I can't speak Japanese. It's Haruhi Suzumiya. Get it airs out of order or whatever. Me, I'm personally a bit more into the older show and stuff. We're doing a Yu Yu Hakusho walkthrough,
That's a good anime.
Bet you anything though, guys. I bet you anything though. Matt will play the KOTOR remake because it has new graphics now.
If it has a flavor, I don't think he will.
Why don't we get Matt Wilkins in here? Have him talk with us.
Is he available?
We need him. Somebody email him. Get him in here.
I'll get him on a podcast in the future, guys.
Please do.
I don't think he will because
I miss talking to him. He's awesome.
I only talked to him once.
I'd be willing to bet money they won't put the Legends label on. They say, "Oh, it's Legends," but it exists in both times.
I mean, Wikipedia put the Legends label on it.
It's like there's someone in Lucasfilm Wrestling who just hates Legends or something. I don't get it.
You know what I noticed though? Like a lot of people from Lucasfilm and LucasArts, they all left. Like Hayden Blackman's not there anymore. Freaking Rick McCallum's not there anymore. Ben Burt's not there anymore.
You know who I'm surprised is still there?
Who?
Leland Chi.
Leland Chi. Yeah, I'm surprised Leland Chi is still there.
Yeah, it's weird.
Like what? You don't hear from him anymore.
Can I say something?
Lance in our server has actually talked to him, and when they talked, it's like he wasn't like he was in the old days. Like he was different.
I went to Wikipedia, and when you go to Wikipedia, you look up games like from the GameCube or the N64 or whatever. You can realize these articles are saying, "Oh, we're on the verge of a golden age of Star Wars." No, that was the true golden age. You can't even give us Legends in a more limited format, except what's safe and marketable, and it's going to sell. It's assuming they embrace
the '90s was like a renaissance
for gaming.
Iron, different in what way?
Well, we've seen, Reboot was from the '90s.
No, I mean like with Leland is what I was. Sorry.
He wasn't acting like he did in the old days. He was very hesitant to say things.
Probably didn't want to be recorded. So
I imagine he was just trying to be professional. Because that's what Matt Wilkins said about Timothy Zahn. They're just trying to be professional. They're trying to make money.
Surprise me about Zahn with.
They'll say one thing.
I was gonna say,
pretty much.
Actually,
his egotism forced out, like, what's his name? Kevin J. Anderson.
In fact, that reminds me.
I like what
somebody brilliantly recorded Timothy Zahn's thoughts on if there was going to be a reboot before 2014.
I think it would be a terrible
amazing.
idea. Yes.
Yeah.
Now, if only we could find that video where Dave Filoni's quote-unquote lore master knowledge gets tripped up, and at that point he gets defensive and lashes out. We cannot find that anywhere. It's removed. How convenient. I mean,
wait, did that actually happen?
Wait, what happened?
Matt Wilkins said it. Ryan Kinnell said it. They're older fans who were there at the time. I believe them.
Wait, do what?
Was this the whole
Yularen?
Yeah, the Yularen thing.
Yeah.
Because he was originally a colonel in the ISB in A New Hope, but then he's all of a sudden, an admiral during the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
You think he'd be he'd hold the rank of general in the ISB, not go to colonel? Because that's kind of a downgrade.
Yeah.
Look what they're doing the same thing now. Ryan said it, and I think Ichibaka said I've had my issues with them, but it's true to say that by retconning Leia to be a general in these shorts, you make her demote her because she's a princess. She's a general. That's
guys. You know what I just realized?
What?
If the KOTOR remake is successful and it actually does good, Aspire could make Legends games. They could do it.
Not only that, but we could also get like a remastered trilogy for like the Rogue Squadron games.
Games were not what I was hoping for. They're going to be like new games or whatever. They just don't want.
We could even if Aspire does good with this remake. We could potentially get a new Jedi Knight game. Holy shit!
Ooh.
Oh, yes.
This has been said of me before in the Stargate server. I kind of take the buzz out of people's sales. I guess I'm a bit like Ryan. I'm a bit cynical and jaded. Sorry if I'm killing your optimism. I just kind of have no faith in what they're going to do or the future. Just me though.
Iron, I was gonna say, do you want to get Lance up in here if he's available? Maybe he could join us.
Oh, you could ask him.
Maybe I could try.
Back to the anime point. Look what Netflix is doing now. They make all these anime stuff that are stupid. No point. Ryan has brought recently is kind of a bit is Salon had a point when they talked about that the reason we got upset with the fake it. I never watched Cowboy Bebop. It's less skin revealing, and I'm like, but yeah, who cares? It's our male needs that way are just as valid as women. It's like you can do fan service for men and women. There should be no shame in that. You know what I mean? And
that was part of her character too.
So if
she's a femme fatale.
Yeah. So if you're gonna criticize it, don't run away from that male gazy thing. Embrace it and say, yeah, there's no shame in that. Because it's the change and fans don't like change. Yeah, don't say that. We all know it is the male gazy thing. Salon was right about that.
What is this?
Well, it's for the Cowboy Bebop thing, but they have all these anime adaptations in the work, and it kind of scares me. One Piece, they compared the character to Kamala Harris in Trump, no surprise. Yu Yu Hakusho, they're gonna make that into an anime or a movie on Netflix too, and I'm just cringing. I'm like, I feel like they're gonna take Chapter Black and they're gonna make it for social commentary and topical political grandstanding. That it was never meant to be. There's this thing with Amanuma and this thing with.
Well, I was worried about the same thing with the Picard season trailer. Like me and Yukafa were talking about that. It's like they're trying to travel to modern day. It's like, are they going to ignore continuity? Are they going to, ignore the Bell riots?
Yeah, but to be fair, for same thing when they went back to the 1990s. It's just the thing though is the Chapter Black saga. I feel like they're going to try and say what they think is the worst thing of humanity put on the Chapter Black tape is. And I'm like, what it showed is stuff that's going back thousands of years. And it's like, they're using that to recruit people to their cause. Bullied kids, people who have been hurt so badly that they would be receptive to their indoctrination, and yeah, it's like, they're actually being quite honest with them. They're going to open up a tunnel, let through a bunch of horrible demons that are going to kill and eat and just brutalize everyone. And they know about it. They know. And, you know, saying we all deserve to die because we're diseased sounds like fanatical cult stuff they say. And it's just like they're going to take that and specify, who's just the right wing? The right wing, you're alt-right biggest. And I'm like, I'm getting tired of it, you know?
Honestly, screw politics. It's not worth it in the end.
No one wants politics anymore. No one wants politics in their stuff anymore.
The only thing politics should be allowed in is satirical comedies.
Political art,
Yes.
political art should happen, but when
Why do you?
when
I was gonna say,
when it's the executives forcing it in, that's an issue. But at this stage, I'm someone who's actually defended how easy it is to fall into that trap.
yeah. Honestly,
And
why do you think South Park freaking gets away with making fun of all this, and why they're still in the air?
What's so funny?
Yeah, I looked up some of that South Park stuff, and it was actually quite funny.
I love. Who
my
doesn't
new
love South
favorite,
Park?
my favorite character in South Park now is PC Principal. He's great.
You know,
I love Randy is always going to be the ultimate character. Randy Marsh will be the ultimate character.
Is that a microaggression?
Stan.
It's been
Stan.
Yeah, it's been said I have a Mickey Mouse voice, so we'll listen to it. You are just a fat diabetic bear. Do I own South Park? Not yet, boss. Not yet.
Yeah. No, but Randy Marsh is always going to be the best one. Who's like, Stan, your dad only did this because he wanted to earn money. Okay, Stan.
You know what they should do in the next Kingdom Hearts?
Actually, you know what?
Mouse the villain. The villain. Yes.
Actually, you know what? You know what movie the creators of South Park made that was probably one of the best pieces of work, but it was a bitch to film?
Team America World Police?
Yes, thank you.
That movie is amazing.
It's great. I just love when they fight the Film Actors Guild. Like, that's my favorite scene in the movie. Because you got all these 2000s and 90s actors like Susan Sarandon, Janine Garofalo, Matt Damon, Martin Sheen, Ethan Hawke, all of them. I think George Clooney
and the anagram spells fag.
Yes.
Oh my.
George Clooney actually play himself in that movie because I know he did a lot of the voices on South Park.
That's amazing.
Wait, did he play himself in that movie or no? Because I know he did some of the voices on South Park.
I have a question though.
Yo.
Guys, ever seen Idiocracy? Boy, that's so timeless.
That movie's great too.
It's my favorite scene is what Hollywood in the future is. Oh, they're just honest. They're giving you this movie ass. It's just so they've removed all the second marketing practice. Thank you.
Honestly, I miss when we were all making fun of George Bush.
Yeah.
Yeah, those were the days.
Everybody was just making fun of George Bush, and it was great.
I find the Trump memes a lot funnier, to be honest.
Oh yeah, Orange Man stuff. No, just
Star Trek is just gonna go all in on the Orange Man bad and Brexit when it's like, let me say this: this is how they do the deceptive marketing practices. If you actually go with the history and look at what Patrick Stewart wanted out of Star Trek, you'd know he was not a good fit for Patrick Stewart. Who made Patrick Stewart? The writers, Rick Berman, Ron Moore, Michael Piller. Either they're dead or they're not working there now. And what he wanted to do was do his own politics in the world of Star Trek, and some people like that, some don't, but but he always wanted more sex and action out of the movies. I'm like, wait, you think you're Captain Kirk? That's not what Captain Picard was ever about,
By the way, you know who uses even better memes than Trump and Bush?
Who?
Bernie Sanders. It's like, I am once again going to watch my election get stolen, and then I will endorse the Daves who did it.
I love Bernie.
I
personally love Bernie. He's great.
As someone who was in, shall I say, the not Sanders camp in 2016, he was a bit more politically hard on that, and he was up on that. I did see great memes like Titanic, ship sinking. You could attach any political party to that and just say sinking.
Honestly,
and it would be funny.
Hillary Clinton disgusts me with a passion. Like, she disgusts me. She disgusts everyone.
Yeah, well, I finally see why it's better to be a liberal. If you're going to be a liberal, reject political correctness, because it's such an easy trap for fall into. I fell into it. It says We could be better than we are, and that's such a nice thing.
I think we all fell for that trap at one point.
But it's like, I want to think that, and with our tools, I think we can do that. But on our own, I don't think we can. You're going to run into a very basic contradiction. You kind of just have to live with it instead of trying to change it, because I'm actually defending a lot of hardcore psychotic criminal act. I'm talking just people being flawed people, It's like they don't want people to be flawed these days.
Yeah. Like Ray, you said what were you saying about Bernie?
I said I love Bernie.
Yeah.
He was actually on Joe Rogan's podcast at one point.
Yeah, I feel like can we just agree to disagree? Can we have more of that? That would make it so much better.
Indeed, yeah.
Yeah. Why do you think Joe Rogan's podcast exists? Because it's free reign. You can say whatever you want to him. He's great.
Yeah. Sounds like a pretty chill dude.
Honestly, Joe Rogan's had everybody
I'm just remembering that one clip with freaking Alex Jones. I'm kind of retarded.
Do you remember the Alex Jones Doom stuff?
I was gonna say, didn't Rogan and Musk actually smoke weed on one of the podcasts? Weren't they smoking weed live at one point?
Can I
have no idea.
Sorry.
I'm happy I don't keep up on modern trends. I get to avoid a lot of this. Movies, TV shows, games, and whatever. I just would rather look at stuff from the past. Find stuff I've never even given a chance to,
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff out there. So, let's see.
Unfortunately...
Any final thoughts on the KOTOR stuff?
Yes, I do. Despite my... despite my some gripes with remakes, if they do it well, and if they don't change anything, I'll give it a shot.
Yep, I'm definitely going to be giving it a chance. So
I'm cautiously optimistic.
Yeah,
I'll give it a shot.
Here.
I'll give it a shot.
But I'll be open-minded. I'll be cautiously optimistic.
Optimism, Captain, as Phlox from Enterprise said.
My final thoughts would be, I've pretty much been taking the wins out of a lot of people.
Even though I think it's very silly that we're getting a lot of remakes these days and not new stuff. I'll still give it a shot.
That's one of the many reasons why the 2010s will be an incredibly forgettable, awful decade for me.
With a couple exceptions.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
there's always exceptions.
Mm-hmm.
But looking back on it, it's a new Legends. It's new Legends content, so that makes me happy, even if it is a remake.
Yep. I prefer new stuff. I would prefer a KOTOR 3 set in Legends and Legends only, but take what I can get.
Stuff too,
honestly, if you're gonna reboot a show or a video game or a movie, do it right and do it with respect.
Yeah, that's what Aspire is planning to do, at least. So let's hope it works.
And we can also be glad that EA, doesn't have their hands on it.
God.
Oh yeah, thank you, Lord. Yeah,
because they would just be like, get this Revan costume for $59.99.
Yeah.
Or get Bastila's original lightsaber color for $3. I'm like, no, stop.
Yeah.
Don't put microtransactions in it.
To play as a Jedi from the start, which will break the game.
Yeah.
Pay $100.
Yeah. It was good talking to you guys.
It's just like, to unlock the dark side ending, you have to pay $5 more. God, can you imagine that? It's like KOTOR remake. What? It can't be dark side.
It'd be disgusting. It'd be disgusting.
And then years later, when the servers to do that shuts down for the console or PC, the game can't be played anymore without hacking.
Yeah.
Imagine it comes out. Get the KOTOR season pass for $49.
And you're like,
Well, anyways, it was good talking to you guys. Should we do this again someday?
I've been wanting to do more podcasts with people.
And we need Matt Wilkins this time.
Just do want to give my final thoughts.
Yeah.
Oh, sure, dude.
I know I've been kind of taking the buzz out of people, but that's in the end just because I have so many questions and because I still don't trust their motives. And just from what I hear, I feel like at best this is going to be average or slightly above average because, again, it's just a rehash story, but it could be interesting with the new graphics. It just depends on the gaming studio. My big question is how they're going to license it, they're going to market it, and if Lucasfilm steps in at any point or not. There's thousands of questions we need to answer. Does it fit into Legends or does it fit into Desi? And I feel like those are questions they do not want to answer. Whenever you look at what Matt Martin says about continuity, it's just whatever you want to believe, and they don't care about canon continuity, and they're gonna keep taking an axe to it because that's kind of who they are. But at the same time, I really do hope it turns out well for everyone. That's what I hope. I just gonna kind of tend to err on the side of caution, but because
cautious optimism.
Yeah, it's just I don't know.
Yeah.
I still won't be checking out. I'm gonna hold out for actual books. It would just be like them to create new Legends games because at least that sells. But I don't have modern gaming consoles like at all.
That reminds me. If any of you guys are on a podcast with Matt next time, you guys need to ask him about the KOTOR remake and what he thinks.
One thing we're hoping to do is with the Scoundrels Cantina guys and Iron Inquisitor, when me and Iron finish watching through Stargate, is doing with Matt and them with the Stargate podcast.
That's going to be super fun.
Matt said it could be fun when I asked him on his live Q&A. I just don't know if he'd have the time, is what it seemed like. But yeah, once we're done, and Jedi Knight Union and Iron need to do that reboot podcast deal,
Yeah, I actually might have gotten Luke to start watching Reboot.
Oh, that's cool. We could bring him on it too.
I don't know yet. He hasn't. I texted him a while ago. He hasn't responded back yet.
I think season 1 is so slow paced. That's why I kind of started.
And you said there was a lot of censorship too. Like, what kind of censorship?
Season 1, yeah. Season 2 gets a lot better. I think.
Yeah. What did they censor?
See, I like season 2. It's just so great. It's just you still race into the games, you Guardian. Still putting on a show for the masses, are we? The young pretender to mend and defend. Whoa.
No, like Siberian season 1, you said there was a lot of censorship. Like, what exactly did they censor?
It's all on the wiki. I could provide that.
Okay.
Who defend you the next time we meet?
All right, so I'm probably gonna cut it off right here, guys. But
it was good talking
this is
to you
really
guys.
fun. I was glad we were able to do like one of these, and I hope to do the Bad Batch in the future.
I can't stand the Bad Batch. It's just bad.
It's in the title. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this discussion, and we'll see you around whenever we do another one.
See you guys.
We need to have Kyle and Matt next time on here.
Oh yeah, I'll find something for them to join us. So anyway, see you guys later.
See you guys.
Right, see ya.
Bye.
See you.